Salut! It's been a while. Banners were reworked in Settlers League and everyone wrote them off as dead. So let's see if they actually are that bad. Banners are no longer reservation skills, but are instead placeable auras that scale based on stacks of Valor. Valor is gained 1 per kill, or on hit for a rare. This makes sustaining a banner very hard without any investment. The only decent Valor generator found was on the Banner Mastery, gained 5 Valor on Warcry. This is also scaled by the semi-hidden stat Increased Valor Gained. This is only available on the small nodes in the 2 banner clusters and on the unique Perfidy. Champion also has some nodes that scale Valor. Inspirational causes banners to give some life regen and refund some Valor when leaving the area. This amount is also scaled by Valor Gain modifiers, making it closer to 50% refund. Champion's Worthy Causes, a new node, lets you generate Valor while the banner is down. This is the same modifier as on Perfidy, except that Perfidy has the rare Valor Gained modifier, while this just has banner duration. I don't know why this node exists when a unique does basically the same thing. Either way, you need all of these things to make banners usable at a basic level. I can sustain my banner with the champion nodes, spamming war cries, and just the large banner node on the south of the tree. Banners are auras, and all this extra valor gives the banner more area and more aura effect. So you also want to take both duelist aura nodes on the tree. The 3 banner skills in the game are War Banner, Dread Banner, and Defiance Banner. War Banner gives more melee physical damage and accuracy. This is the one we're using as it's the only offensive banner. The numbers on this look low, but note that it's getting scaled by the aura effect of the banner. With 105 Valor, this 4% more damage becomes 94% more damage. Extra effects given to the banner, like the all-res from Rallying Icon node, are also scaled, which turns his 5% all-res into 118 at max Valor. Dread Banner gives block chance and life on block. This might have some use in a defensive setup. This would turn to around 900 health on block, which is nothing to scoff at. Defiance Banner gives spell suppression, move speed, and flat damage reduction to suppressed spells. I have no idea what this could be used for. 189% increased movement speed is cool and all, but you're restricted to a circle. What's the point? Now that we got banners out of the way, that leaves us with a lot of more physical melee damage and accuracy that we need to use. We also have to Warcry constantly, and I have just a build that does all of this. Over a year ago, I saw this post on the Path of Exile build subreddit by user Calilective. This shows an interesting tech with Boneshatter of Complex Trauma and General's Cry. Boneshatter of Complex Trauma usually has a cap of 10 trauma before resetting, but this reset doesn't happen if the Boneshatter was used by General's Cry. Not only this, if you used a different skill with trauma support, you could get Complex Trauma to gain more damage than its stack cap. This doesn't work anymore. This was actually patched out in Settlers. Trauma was given a damage cap regardless of its stack size in a patch note disguised as a buff, which caused me to miss it. I did not know that before making this build, and only looked it up in detail when I was wondering why my damage was awful. Spoiler, the damage is awful. So this build is mostly a wash, but the tech is at least interesting, so let's keep going. Boneshatter usually alternates hands while dual wielding, but because General's Cry Mirages despawn after 1 hit, it only uses the main hand. This means we can use a Frost Breath in the main hand for double damage and put a Bitter Dream in the offhand as a stat stick. The Bitter Dream will support General's Cry, Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, and Auto Exertion. This dual wield setup was the main draw for me. I can't pass up a chance to use Bitter Dream, especially in a melee build. Our main 6-link will instead be a Trauma Generator, the best skill I found being Frost Blades of Catabasis, just because it has a massive strike range. I did try Double Strike of Momentum, but you only get trauma once per skill use, so the extra strike was kind of wasted. We are Champion, so that means Perseverance is almost a given. We're scaling Aura Effect for the banners anyway, so I run both Grace and Determination. I also made this strange looking body armor for armor evasion, with a few dense fossils. We need a Hatred Watcher's Eye to full convert to cold, which means we also need an Hatred Alls to reserve it, which was decently cheap. You could alternatively use a Hatred Merc. I like using Corpse Walkers on General's Cry builds for personal quality of life. If you can tolerate Desecrate spamming, then go for a rare. I do want to mention that Red Blade Banner is not really needed for General's Cry builds. Unlike other Warcries, Gen Cry also includes Corpse Power. So just the 10 min power mastery node and a constant source of corpses and you're all set. Gen Cry does need cooldown reduction, so I had to use an Eternal Youth and Possible Escape to get these deep breath nodes. I didn't use a Merc due to excessive screen clutter, but I usually use a Trapper Merc with the new Skitterbot built Archon tools. This, along with a lot of ailment effect, gives a large shock and a large scorch for free. It doesn't save the damage. This build might have been good if it wasn't patched. With the old system I was looking around 6 million DPS, which is passable. But as it is right now, it's less than 2 million in its best case scenario, which it doesn't hit often. This build somehow takes the worst part of strike builds and the worst part of Daniel Cry builds, but none of the positives of either. You still have to stand there and strike to gain trauma stacks, but your strikes don't actually do damage, and you can't run around and kite like a General's Cry build because you have to stack trauma. The only good part of the patch is that there's no reason to stack above 10, so you could just run around after you hit 10, but good luck finding it in the buff bar. I also noticed that General Cry doesn't really proc the Boneshatter splash, so it tends to clear one enemy at a time, which is not helpful. Banners are also annoying. The buffs are good and the area is larger than the screen, but it's still an annoying amount of buff upkeep. The Valor stacks get lost in the mess of the buff bar, so I'm reliant on the spinning icon on the skill to tell if it's expired or not. Sometimes it feels like the banner just disappears sometimes, like it got killed or something. Path of Exile isn't a game where you have the luxury of looking around the screen to see if your abilities are working or not. They have to be on all the time or else they don't work at all. I guess it's okay in circle content like Ritual or Ultimatum, but you could also just not. Valor upkeep is fine. It's just the constant need to replace the banner every single pack that's unneeded. The whole thing just feels unneeded. Why would you put so much investment into the skill to make it barely passable? Even though it's not that great, I do see a use for banners in a sort of immortal build with Dread Banner. 900 health on block isn't a joke. Also, these PoB defenses are a lie. It does not feel like 50k EHP. I die all the time, mainly to degens. Low max HP will do that. As for budget, it was rather light. Under 5 divines, but I did SSF this helmet from a settler ship, so that's probably unrealistic. For ratings, we got a lot of separate things to go over. General Cry Boneshatter tech is dead. 1 out of 10, it's not happening. Maybe somewhere, someday, a form of this tech can come back, but not here and not now. Banners are subpar and underwhelming. It requires a lot of investment just to make it passable, and the playstyle was just annoying. It's not unusable, it just feels like very bad value. The true winner of this video is Champion as a whole. The Fortify rework is really strong and kept me alive through all of this. Perseverance Champ is strong as always. The only issue I found was a weakness to degens, but what isn't weak to degens? And that's about all for this one. I am unsure about any more videos for this league. Honestly, I haven't been feeling PoE as a whole. Both games, really. I'm tempted to make a rant video going over every issue I have with the game right now. It's frustrating because everyone sees the game as being in the best state it's ever been, but I haven't. I was an outlier in that I didn't really like Settlers at all. Should I make that rant video or just shut up and make the silly meme videos?